Hello, so this is for anybody who needs some extra help with the Module 4, Lesson 1 independent practice or quiz. If you used your 2 attempts on your quiz and you did not get at least a 70%, I will give you an additional retake, but you need to contact me to get it. If you're waiting to take it or haven't taken it yet because you struggled with the independent practice, hopefully this will help you out some. I also will give some links to review some algebra concepts because, if in the process of watching this video I'm rearranging equations and you're getting lost there, you might need to go back to some of those Algebra 1 concepts working with the 3 equations. So I'm on the independent practice. Maybe you've done these questions or maybe you haven't, but we're going to find some. I'm going to skip, well, I'll do number 1. Yeah, we could do that one. Okay, so what is the equation of the line perpendicular to y equals negative 2x plus 5 that passes through the point 2, 2? All right, so I have an equation of a line that I want it to be perpendicular to. I have a point that I also want it to go through. So I believe that was y equals negative 2x plus 5, and then we had 2, 2. And we want it to be perpendicular. That's that symbol. I introduced that in the notes video, so just for shorthand, I'm going to write that. Okay, the thing about parallel or perpendicular is that we need to be establishing a slope that we're going to use. That's what makes our lines parallel or perpendicular, and then, we have some additional things we have to do to get it to go through a point. The first thing that we need to do if we're given an equation, some of them we were given 2 points, we can go into finding the slope ourselves there. On this one, we're given an equation and we want to make sure that we pull out the slope from here. Now, the nice thing about this equation is it's already in slope-intercept form. Remember, there's like 3 forms of equations we're working with. Slope-intercept, where we have m and b, and m is the slope that we're looking for. We also have point slope. Again, we have our m, which is the slope we're looking for. And then sometimes we have what is called standard form. And the thing about standard form is we have x and y added or subtracted together on one side and then a constant on the other. And these a, b, and c's, they are not the slope. So we can't just like pull out the slope from standard form. We actually would have to rearrange it some to get it in either slope-intercept or point slope, and really slope-intercept is going to be the go-to one there. But I will do a separate example because I saw my number 2 looked like that. So this one's already in slope-intercept form. The m is always located in front of the x. I know it's slope-intercept form because I have y equals on its own right there. And so my slope of the line that I'm given is negative 2, but I want my slope to be perpendicular. So I need to change the sign. It's going to end up being a positive, and I need to flip negative 2 as a fraction to its reciprocal, which is going to be 1 over 2. Okay, that's first thing we need to do. We need to take our slope, manipulate it to be either parallel or perpendicular. After that, the form that I was showing in the notes where we can actually plug in a point and the slope is point slope form. I have a point that I want my line to go through. That's my x1 and my y1. And now I have my slope, my m. Okay, so I have all the values that I need to plug into this equation. Once I start doing it, y stays in the equation. I will subtract my y1, which is 2. Put in my slope, 1/2, and then subtract my x1, which is also 2. All right, so this is an equation of a line that is perpendicular to the given line. I could pull up Desmos and type them in and see. Now the problem with what I see in the quiz is I don't have that form of the equation in any of my answers. It looks like all of these answers are in slope-intercept form because y is by itself on one side. So what I want to do to my equation to get it to match the possible equations is I'm going to want to put it in slope-intercept form as well. The goal when you're moving to slope-intercept form is to get y on its own. Notice that's part of slope-intercept form. I also will want to, arrange the terms on the other side, but I'm trying to get y by itself. And so to get out of point-slope form, I have to get rid of my parentheses by distributing. So I'm just going to keep what I have on that side, y minus 2. I'm distributing in my 1/2 times x, and 1/2 times -2. Now the thing about multiplying by half is it's whenever I have a numerator of 1 in my fraction, it's like I'm dividing by the denominator. So 1/2 times -2 over 1 it's really like 2 divided by 2, -2 divided by 2. So I'm going to get a -1 there. Okay, you can always think of if I have a numerator of 1, I'm dividing by the denominator to kind of help with doing that in my head. All right, so I'm getting closer to slope-intercept form. I still want to get my y on its own on one side, and I notice that what's in the way of doing that is my -2. So I'm going to cancel it out by doing a +2, and I'm also going to do that to the other side of the equation. I'm essentially moving that -2 over. Now it changes in the process, but I'm moving it over. So now I do just have y on one side. I have 1/2 x minus 1 but plus 2. So I'm going to combine those like terms there, and I get plus 1. All right, now I should find this in my possible answers. Y equals 1/2 x plus 1, and there it is. Okay, when I have answer choices in a certain format, I either need to put my equation in that format, or I can change the answer choices to match my equation. Now, question number 2, I'm not going to do all of it, but I'm going to start us off on this one. Now, I see the equations are in slope-intercept form again, so that part is going to be similar. But what's different is it says, what is the equation of the line perpendicular to 3x plus y equals 6 that passes through the point -6, 1? Okay, so my slope is not ready to be pulled out in that equation because that one is falling into this standard form, which standard form doesn't have the slope in it. Okay, I have to rearrange it to slope-intercept or point slope. Really, it's hard to go from something else to point slope. It's more like something you start at. So we're going to want to take it into slope-intercept form, and then I can pull out the slope. So it was 3x plus y equals 6. Oh, I'm doing that wrong. 3x plus y equals 6. And remember, I want it in slope-intercept form so I can start to pull out that slope and really make my line parallel or perpendicular, whichever it was. So again, I'm rearranging, I'm doing that algebra work of getting y by itself. This time, the thing that is in the way is the 3x. 3x is being added to y. So I want to subtract it. Now I have just y on its own, and because 6 and 3x are not like terms, I can really just write them together. Okay, still I'm not in slope-intercept form, and I could have done this ahead of time, but we want to have the mx as the first one, especially if you're always looking at the first term, or you need to make sure you're looking at the coefficient for x, but just to rearrange this, I could say it'd be -3x plus 6. All right, now I am ready to pull out my slope. Okay, so this is the slope of the given line would be -3. When I look at it in the original form, I might misunderstand it as a positive, but it's not written in slope-intercept form. Okay, this is asking for it to be perpendicular. So the next thing I would do would be changing the slope to perpendicular, which I did in the last example, making sure I plug it into point slope form using the point that was requested. Okay, so we could continue on with this problem. It is much like the last one that I did. One where I want to show, where we get some different types of answers would be like this one, question number 4. How am I doing on time? Okay, so question number 4, I want to be parallel to 1/3 x plus 6 and go through 3, -1/2. So I want it to be parallel to, is that -1/3? Yeah. -1/3 x plus 6, and I'm going through 3, I think that was -1/2. I'm not very good at going back and forth. Okay, I want it to be parallel. Already in slope-intercept form, which is a plus, I know my slope is right there. Parallel is going to be the same slope, so I'm not going to change my slope. I'm going to keep it the same. This is my point that I want it to go through, and I'm going to go and use point slope form because, I get to plug in exactly that, a point and the slope. All right, I replace my values, and I'm going to put y minus y1, which is -1/2. Remember, when I subtract a negative, I can really write it as +1/2. My slope is going to be -1/3, and I'm doing x minus 3. And because the 3 was positive, I do have that subtraction there. Okay, so really, I already have a line that's perpendicular right here. The next task, though, is matching it to the given equations. Now, what I notice about all of these equations are they have x and y on that one side like they're in standard form. I could go and individually rearrange each of these answers to put it in slope-intercept form, or I can, take my equation and put it into standard form, which is, I really just want my x and my y on the same side. Okay, so I'm going to do that version. So I'm still going to go through. I want to get rid of my parentheses. I have -1/3 x, and then remember, when I'm multiplying by a fraction with the numerator of 1, I'm really dividing by that number. So -3 divided by -3. So that's going to be a +1. And then I still have this part of my equation, trying to get trying to get x and y over on the same side. So I actually don't want this 1/2 to be here, so I'm going to subtract it away. And now I'm taking 1 minus 1/2, which is going to be a 1/2. So I have y equals -1/3 x plus 1/2. Okay, this is in slope-intercept form here. I could take this, convert each of these to solve for y, and then compare, or I can do one more step and just move my x term over with y. Now, if I want to move this whole -1/3 x term, I'm going to add it to both sides. I know I'm kind of lacking some room. When I add it to this side, it's going to cancel. And when I add it over here, I'm going to have 1/3 x, because I want to do a positive version if it's negative, plus y equals 1/2. And so what I've done is I've taken the equation and I put it in the form that's going to match all the answers. And then I can see in my answers that that one is right there. Okay, so I think maybe some of us were getting hung up on that part of it with the answers in all these different forms. Hopefully this helped out a bit. If you're still struggling with the different forms and rearranging the equation or pulling out the slope, I really encourage you to watch those Khan Academy videos that I have linked.